August 12, 1984, at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, 92,000 people attended the Summer Olympics closing ceremony, while 2.6 billion watched on TV.
Here to say it.
I don't want nobody.
That's what the greatest R&B performances do. They don't just fill a room, they fill the world. From smoky Apollo stages to Olympic stadiums, these performances transcend their setting.
Listen while I talk to you now. Tell you what I'm gonna do now.
From gospel churches in Detroit to the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., these were the nights when music became more than music. A single performance could rewrite history. This is R&B Pulse Track, counting down the 15 greatest R&B performances ever captured on Earth. Number 15, Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, Motown 25. March 25th, 1983. We open with a performance that changed everything, not just in R&B, in human culture itself. March 25th, 1983. NBC is taping a Motown anniversary special. Every legend the label ever produced is on that stage. And then came the argument. The producers had one rule: no new music. Every song had to be from the Motown catalog. But Michael Jackson had one condition. He would only perform if he could do Billie Jean, a song on Epic Records. Nothing to do with Motown. They went back and forth. Michael was immovable. They gave in. 47 million Americans watched what happened next. 35% of every television set in the country tuned in at the same time. Michael walked out in a black sequin jacket, white socks, a rhinestone glove, and a black fedora. The brothers did their medley. Then they left, and Michael was alone. The bass line of Billie Jean began, and during the bridge, he spun, landed on his toes, and glided backwards while his feet moved forward. The moonwalk, born, lived, in front of the world. Here is what almost nobody knows. Michael cried backstage afterward, not from joy, but because he felt he hadn't held his toe stand long enough. He said so to Oprah in 1993. The man who had just redefined performance was unhappy with his own performance. Every show he did after that night mirrored Motown 25 exactly, because he knew what he had created. The dividing line before that night and after. Number 14, the supreme stop. In the Name of Love, Ed Sullivan Show, 1965. America is shaking. The civil rights movement is tearing the country apart. And in the middle of all that chaos, 3 young black women from Detroit are quietly becoming the most commercially successful female group in American music history. By February 1965, Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard had already scored 3 consecutive number ones. And then came Stop in the Name of Love, written by Holland Dozier Holland. The song was born from a real argument. Lamont Dozier was fighting with his girlfriend. About to walk out the door, when she grabbed his arm and said, "Stop in the name of love." That line went straight into the recording studio. Released February 8th, #1 by March 27th. That made the Supremes the first act in Billboard Hot 100 history to score 4 consecutive #1 singles. The Beatles couldn't do it. Nobody could. Only them. What made the performance legendary wasn't just the song. It was the hand. That single outstretched arm, palm flat, fingers up, delivered in perfect unison by all 3 women, became one of the most imitated gestures in pop music history. Berry Gordy had trained them to perform before kings and queens. When they took that gesture onto the Ed Sullivan Show and into millions of American living rooms, they were proving something, that black women could be glamorous, precise, untouchable. And #1, watch the performance on YouTube and watch that hand. #13, the Four Tops' Reach Out, I'll Be There, the Ed Sullivan Show, October 16, 1966. The Ed Sullivan Show and the Four Tops walk out to perform a song that Berry Gordy told them, before it was even released, was going to be the biggest record they had ever made. He told their member Duke Fakir to get his tax affairs in order. That is how confident Gordy was. The song was Reach Out, I'll Be There. And Gordy was right. Here is what made that recording extraordinary. Holland Dozier Holland wrote the song specifically to push lead singer Levi Stubbs to the absolute top of his vocal range. Duke Fakir later explained it plainly. Eddie realized that when Levi hit the top of his range, it sounded like someone hurting. So he made sing right up there. Levi complained, but they knew he loved it. Every time they thought he had reached his limit, he would stretch a little further until you could hear the tears in his voice. The Four Tops actually recorded the whole song in just 2 takes and assumed it was a throwaway album track. Phil Spector heard it and called it Black Dylan. Released August 18th, 1966, it hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and #1 on the R&B chart simultaneously. Rolling Stone ranked it among the 500 greatest songs of all time. The Library of Congress selected it for the National Recording Registry. And the Ed Sullivan performance, filmed the exact week it reached #1, is on YouTube right now. Watch Levi Stubbs on that stage. Watch a man singing at the very edge of what his voice can do. #12, Otis Redding, Try a Little Tenderness, Monterey Pop Festival, June 17th, 1967. Late in the evening, in the midnight hour, when the time. The Monterey International Pop Festival, 90,000 people, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane. This was a rock festival, and then somebody booked a 25-year-old soul singer from Macon, Georgia, who had spent his entire career performing almost exclusively for black audiences. Let me have it. Give
me some.
The Beach Boys were scheduled to headline Saturday night. They pulled out last minute. So Otis Redding, in his signature green suit, backed by Booker T and the MGs, stepped into the headlining slot in front of 90,000 Flower Power Festival kids who had never seen anything like him.
Want me some?
He opened with Shake, then Respect, then Satisfaction. The Stones song reclaimed for its rightful black roots. And he closed with Try a Little Tenderness. Wayne Jackson of the Memphis Horns said afterward, he just rolled over them like the tide.
Give it to me.
It was one of his last performances. Otis called that crowd the love crowd. He said he finally felt like the whole world was beginning to hear him. 6 months later, December 10th, 1967, his plane went down into a lake near Madison, Wisconsin. He was 26 years old. The full Monterey performance is on YouTube. Watch what a genius looks like when they are on fire and running out of time. Number 12. Number 11. Ray Charles, Georgia on My Mind. The Midnight Special, 1976.
Keeps Georgia on my mind.
Ray Charles was born in Albany, Georgia. Blind since age 7. By his 30s, crossing back and forth between R&B, gospel, blues, and jazz, like a man walking between rooms in his own house. Then his driver noticed that Ray kept humming the same old song on long car rides. Georgia on My Mind, a gentle jazz standard from 1930. When Ray Charles rebuilt it from the inside, bringing his gospel training and his complicated love for a state that had never fully loved him back, something extraordinary happened. 4 takes. Ray usually needed 10 or 12. This one came out right because it was real. It went number 1 in 1960. 4 Grammy Awards from that one session. And in 1979, the state of Georgia, the same state that had enforced segregation while Ray Charles was growing up, officially made Georgia on My Mind its state song.
Peace I find.
His Midnight Special performance from 1976 is right there on YouTube. Ray at the piano, band full behind him, a voice impossibly rich with meaning. He was singing about a place that had broken and shaped him equally. The voice said everything he wouldn't. Number 11. Number 10, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Midnight Train to Georgia, 16th Grammy Awards, March 2nd, 1974.
So he's leaving a light.
The Hollywood Palladium, the Grammy Awards. Gladys Knight and the Pips walk out to perform their first ever number 1 hit. But how they got there is just as powerful as the performance itself. They had spent years at Motown, miserable, overshadowed by Diana Ross and the Supremes. So they left, signed with Buddha Records, and their second single on the new label was a country song originally called Midnight Plane to Houston. Gladys said no. Change the plane to a train. Change Houston to Georgia. She knew what it needed to be.
Oh, yes, he did. He said he would. Oh,
Then something happened in the studio that made the song immortal. Recording her ad-libs at the end, her brother Bubba Knight leaned into the intercom from behind the glass and told her exactly what to say.
Said he's going back.
I got to go. I got to go. Those spontaneous ad-libs were not planned. They were given in the moment, and they became the most beloved 8 seconds of the entire song.
Gonna be right by. I'll be with them. I know.
At the Grammys that night, Gladys in a shimmering gown and the Pips in their perfectly synchronized choreography stopped the room. They won Best R&B Vocal Performance by a group, their first Grammy ever. Watch the performance on YouTube. Watch the Pips behind her. The precision, the joy, the pride in every single movement. Number 9, Al Green, Let's Stay Together. PBS Souls, 1972.
I'm so in love with you.
Memphis, 1971. Producer Willie Mitchell is behind the glass watching a 25-year-old preacher's son work through a new song. And Willie Mitchell, a man who had heard thousands of singers, just stops. And listens. Al Green's voice moved between falsetto and full voice the way water moves between containers. Natural, effortless. Like there was no separation between the notes at all. Let's Stay Together hit number 1 on the Hot 100 and stayed on top of the R&B charts for 9 straight weeks. Rolling Stone ranked it the 60th greatest song of all time. The Library of Congress put it in the National Recording Registry, but the record alone doesn't explain what Al Green meant to soul music in that moment.
Loving you forever. Yeah.
The PBS Soul, broadcast from 1972, caught him at the exact peak of his powers. Young, magnetic, moving across that stage like a man completely at peace with himself. No gimmicks, just a voice that reached inside you and rearranged something. Pitchfork called him the greatest living soul singer. Rolling Stone put him in their 100 greatest artists. But none of that explains it. It is something you feel before you understand it, like the warmth of a room you walked into without knowing you were cold. We are right at the halfway point of the 15 greatest R&B performances in history, and the best is still to come. If this music means something to you, if you found this video searching for the real stories behind the greatest soul ever recorded, welcome home. Hit subscribe right now. It is free. It takes 2 seconds. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Now let's get back to the countdown. The top 8 are waiting. Number 8. The Temptations' Papa Was a Rolling Stone Soul Train. November 18, 1970. Number 7. Lionel Richie, All Night Long, 1984 Olympics. Closing Ceremony. August 12, 1984. Here is how Lionel Richie ended up on the biggest stage in the history of the world. Closing ceremony producer David Wolper wanted an all-star musical finale to close the 1984 LA Olympics.
Come on and sing along.
Michael Jackson was a Pepsi sponsor. The Olympics were Coca-Cola. No, Frank Sinatra wasn't available. Other managers passed. One by one, the names fell off the list. And someone said, "What about Lionel Richie?"
My friends, the time has come. Raise the
Lionel had just left the Commodores 2 years earlier. He'd done a couple of Vegas shows. Nothing like this. 92,000 people in the LA Coliseum. 2.6 billion watching on television globally.
work to be done. Let the music.
He later said, "You can't get any bigger than the whole world watching." He chose All Night Long and sang it for 9 uninterrupted minutes. Breakdancers and athletes flooding the field tweaked lyrics to honor the games and passed the torch to Soul 1988.
Everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild rose.
That performance changed Olympic closing ceremonies forever. Before 1984, they were afterthoughts. After Lionel Richie's 9 minutes, every closing ceremony had to live up to something. He called it the performing highlight of his life. The full performance is on YouTube. Number 6, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? Kennedy Center, Washington, D.C. May 1, 1972. May 1st, 1972. Washington, D.C. has declared it Marvin Gaye Day. The mayor gives him the key to the city. Students at Cardozo High, the school Marvin attended as a boy, cheer in the hallways. And that night, he is at the Kennedy Center. What most people don't know is that Marvin almost didn't show up. He had not performed live in 4 years, not since his singing partner, Tammy Terrell, collapsed in his arms on stage in 1967 and spent the next 3 years dying of a brain tumor. Something in Marvin went quiet after that. His mother talked him into that Kennedy Center performance. Just his mother. He walked out and performed the entire What's Going on album live. The album Berry Gordy had called The Worst Thing I've Ever Heard. The album Marvin had threatened to quit Motown over, performed all of it live for the only time in his entire career. A meditation on Vietnam, police brutality, poverty, and whether God could still hear a country tearing itself apart. The nervousness was real. The grief was real. The love was real. Marvin Gaye singing What's Going On live is one of the most emotionally honest things ever put on tape. It is on YouTube. Treat yourself to it. Number 5, Tina Turner, Proud Mary, Live in Europe, 1971.
Proud Mary, rolling.
She was born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee. She walked into a club and asked to sing with Ike Turner's band. He said no. She took the microphone anyway. By 1971, Ike and Tina had spent a decade grinding the black club circuit, but mainstream success had stayed just out of reach. Then, Tina heard Creedence Clearwater Revival's Proud Mary and told Ike she wanted it. What she built out of that song was a transformation. The Ike and Tina version hit number 4 on the Billboard Pop chart, sold over 1 million copies, and earned Tina her first Grammy. The 1971 live European performance on YouTube shows the song in its full slow to explosive format. Opening gentle and nice. And then the bottom drops out. The band hits full tempo. And Tina Turner takes off. The painful truth behind the triumph is this. The success of Proud Mary helped keep Tina in an abusive relationship with Ike for 5 more years. Leaving meant walking away from the first real success she had ever known. She finally left in 1976 with 36 cents and a mobile gas card, and then became simply the best. But this 1971 performance is the moment the world first saw who Tina Turner really was. Number 4, Stevie Wonder Superstition, American Music Awards, 1974. Stevie Wonder is in a car accident near Durham, North Carolina. A piece of timber from a logging truck comes through the windshield. Stevie is in a coma for 4 days. Nobody knows if he will recover. Nobody knows if the voice will come back. He was 22 years old, a child star at Motown since he was 11, now quietly stockpiling songs, building a revolution he was about to unleash. The coma interrupted everything. He came back, and when he did, superstition came with him. Written as a gift for Jeff Beck, Stevie played nearly every instrument himself. That clavinet riff, rolling, funky, hypnotic, built partly from a drum beat Beck came up with during the talking book sessions. Released October 1972, it gave Stevie his first #1 in over a decade. At the 1974 American Music Awards, which is on YouTube, he performed it with the kind of precision and physical energy that made clear instantly why this man was different. 2 Grammys that night for Superstition. Then Intervision's won Album of the Year, making Stevie Wonder the first black artist to win that Grammy. He was 23 years old, fresh out of a coma, rewriting history. Number 3, James Brown Live at the Apollo Theater, October 24th, 1962. October 24th, 1962. The Apollo Theater, Harlem, New York. James Brown is about to do something nobody believed in, including his own record label. C. Nathan of King Records refused to finance a live album. Said nobody would buy it. Brown ignored him, paid for everything himself, rented the Apollo for $5,700 out of his own pocket, hired his own recording equipment, because he knew what happened when he walked onto a stage, and he wanted the world to hear it. Rolling Stone later called it one of the greatest live albums ever made. It spent 66 weeks on the Billboard album chart. R&B radio DJs played entire sides without interruption.
1 minute, you made me love you.
James Brown on that stage drops to his knees, throws the cape, shakes and screams and preaches and plays the crowd like an instrument he has spent his entire life studying. The hardest working man in show business. The man who would invent funk. The most sampled musician in history. Performing like a man Mick Jagger says he played the Live at the Apollo album before his own shows just to feel the energy. That is the standard James Brown set that night. The full album is on YouTube, every sweating, screaming minute of it. Number 2, Aretha Franklin, Respect, Live in Amsterdam. 1968.
Sitting around.
Aretha Franklin has spent 9 years at Columbia Records making albums nobody wanted. None of it was her. By the time Columbia dropped her, she was $80,000 in debt. Nothing to show for it. Then, Atlantic Records producer Jerry Wexler did something brilliant. He did nothing. Took her to Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals, sat her at the piano, and said, "Be yourself." That was the whole instruction. The second single she recorded for Atlantic was a song Otis Redding had written from a man's point of view. Aretha flipped it. She flipped the gender, the power, the entire meaning. With her sisters Irma and Carolyn, she added the spelling, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. That became the most famous vocal hook in soul history. Otis Redding heard the finished record and said, "That girl just took my song." He meant it as a compliment. It went number 1, won 2 Grammys. Rolling Stone named it the greatest song of all time in 2021. The live Amsterdam performance from 1968 is on YouTube. Aretha at the absolute peak of her powers, the tempo slightly faster than the record, and she tears into that song with an energy that goes beyond performing.
Would you believe I'll get up?
It is preaching. It is testifying. It is a woman who spent 9 years being told she wasn't quite right, standing on a stage in 1968 and demanding everything owed to her. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. Number 1, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. 36th Grammy Awards. February 24th, 1994. Radio City Music Hall. The Grammy Awards. The curtains are drawn. A single spotlight. And from behind those curtains, that voice. Whitney had already won 3 Grammys that night. Record of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Performance, Album of the Year for the Bodyguard soundtrack. But she hadn't performed yet. I Will Always Love You was originally a Dolly Parton country farewell from 1973. David Foster rebuilt it as a power ballad for the Bodyguard in 1992. Whitney recorded it in 1 take. Not 1 session, 1 take. It went number 1 on the Hot 100 for 14 consecutive weeks. The longest number 1 run by a female artist up to that point in history. The Bodyguard soundtrack became the biggest selling movie soundtrack of all time. It still holds that record today. The opening is a cappella, just her. No band, no orchestra. That voice filling Radio City Music Hall like light filling a room. And when the orchestra comes in and the song builds and that key change arrives, the air changes.
We'll always.
Journalists who were there said people stopped breathing. not metaphorically, stopped breathing. The biggest names in music, people who had seen everything, undone by a woman, an orchestra, and a song about love. Whitney Houston died February 11, 2012. She was 48 years old, and on that night in 1994, she was at the summit of everything a voice can reach. Uneachable, incomparable, the greatest R&B vocal performance in history. 15 performances, 15 moments that didn't just entertain, they endured. From Otis Redding at Monterey to Whitney Houston at Radio City. From James Brown at the Apollo to Michael Jackson's Moonwalk at Motown, to a stage and left something behind that time could never erase. If this video moved you, subscribe to R&B Pulse Track and stay with us, because the stories we tell here matter. This music matters, and so do you.